It's Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Corey and Mason.
Hello, and thanks for sitting down with us. This is our 7th episode of Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast, and I'm one of your hosts, Mason Schmidt, here with my good friend, Corey Knudsen.
Ew.
As we get ready to talk about all things movies, tonight, as usual, we will discuss various topics, including what films we've seen lately, what movies are on the horizon, a little update on some physical media releases, and some current developments in the world of movies. There's been a lot this past week. But first, Corey, how have you been? And second, what are we drinking today?
Dude, we just got out of seeing Kraven.
We did.
An hour, 2 hours ago? Something like that. A couple hours ago. Just made me angry. We'll get into it in like a second here, but yeah, we just needed some beverages to help us get through this one. Today we are drinking Captain's Patch, which this is the first time trying it. This shit is fucking awesome. It's from Elm Creek Brewing, which is made out of Isn't it good?
Oh! Damn!
I've been drinking this for the past few minutes, and Mason is just trying it for the first time now.
We've been trying. This is like the 8th take today.
Yeah.
Because I just can't get through it. Kraven got me on a bender. I had a decent amount of beer through the showing, and now I've just been waiting to get the in time opening of the can on this episode when we read the fucking name of what it is and where it's from, and this is insane.
Isn't it good?
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. So yeah, out of Elm Creek Brewing, made in Champlin, Minnesota.
Oh, these are going down quick.
Yeah. Mason is enjoying them.
Oh my god.
It's a bad day to be a Captain's Patch.
These are good.
It's like a raspberry lemon shandy. It's good as fuck.
Oh,
I like the can a lot,
it's really
too.
sweet to my tongue.
These are as they're dangerous. They're dangerous.
These are
put a lot of these
easy.
back.
Too easy to drink. Damn.
Yeah, I'm glad
you
found
just picked these up on a whim because supposedly the Wild Games are at the Wild Games.
I guess they sell them at Wild Games and some other Minnesota sports stuff, and I just saw an ad for it.
This is awesome.
Yeah. This shit fucking hits.
Maybe one of the better ones we've tried.
This is definitely my favorite, I think.
Yeah. Anyways, what we've seen lately, we just mentioned it. Kraven the Hunter, the awesome movie Kraven the Hunter, directed by J.C. Chandor, director of great films, All Is Lost and A Most Violent Year. Film stars Aaron Taylor Johnson, Russell Crowe, Ariana DeBose. It's a movie about a villain in the Spider-Man universe, but Spider-Man's not going to be a part of it. It's the same Sony universe where there's no Spider-Man, but we need to reference spiders in the movie somewhere because Kraven is randomly afraid of spiders. Corey, what did you think of this amazing piece of work that we just saw maybe 2 hours ago?
I hated it.
Wow.
I really did not like this movie. And this is coming from somebody, you've heard me talk about how excited I am for it, but of thinking and hoping that this could be the best Sony Spider-Verse movie, and it's just not.
It's not good at all in any sense.
I don't know what the story is.
It's not even fun bad. Coming out of it, I'd rather rewatch Madam Web. Madam Web is a worse made movie, but I had more fun watching that than watching Kraven, which is a poorly made film, but it's just so boring and listless.
I don't know what the story was in this movie.
No idea.
There's some crime group, but you don't find out what the crime group is until one throwaway line 3/4 of the way through the movie.
Kraven is going on a hit list against random people he's after because he's a hunter. He's known as this infamous hunter, even though we don't really see it throughout the movie, but he's this hunter. And he's after these guys for no reason. They don't really justify why he's taking these guys down. Russell Crowe is his dad, and he has a difficult relationship with his dad, and his dad's been a hard ass on him in a couple of scenes in the movie, so therefore he's a big villain. And he's got a really thick, maybe possibly Russian accent. I don't fucking know what that was. And Ariana DeBose gave maybe one of the worst performances I've seen in a big blockbuster film, which to say that this is a big blockbuster film is just kind of sad. The action sucks ass. The guy that played Rhino, do you have his name in front of you? Do you
Alessandro Nivola?
Amazing. Awesome. He is chewing up scenery. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen on screen, but it was so funny to watch.
The look of the Rhino was laughably bad.
Wild. I want to give the movie some credit for going for it and trying to do a big gray scaled human Rhino hybrid. We'll try and tackle that. It looks rough. It's not good, but I don't know. There's Christopher Abbott's here, which...
That's my favorite part of the movie.
Favorite part of the movie, and he's underused. A lot of the actors are underused in their roles, except for Ariana DeBose, who every time she was on screen sang some cringy, shitty, horribly, prosed line. I'm like, get off, leave. You don't need to be here. You're Calypso for some reason. You
have tarot cards.
Tarot
you have, like,
cards,
this magic
yeah.
or like liquid that, when mixed with 1 drop of lion's blood, when mixed with a human's blood, gives you power. What is his powers?
I don't fucking get it. I don't know, like, how
can
he got
zoom
his...
in
Yeah, he can fucking
stuff in his
super see. He
eye.
can super see. He can see things, and he can hear things, and he can smell things. Because there's a scene that you and I were joking about before recording, where he walks into this piano bar, and he's like... He walks by this couple, he's like, oh, I like your perfume. And she's like, oh, I don't wear perfume. And he looks over at the guy, and then the girl looks at the guy, and then Kraven says, oh, she's gonna find out eventually, man. Oh, okay. This guy's cheating on his girlfriend. Why is Kraven here? Why is this scene happening? What's this joke?
It's so many scenes like that where I'm like, how did we get here? Like, what are we doing? The transitions between scenes are just jarring. It's so frustrating trying to follow what's happening in this movie, or like where characters are at. I don't know. Like, I just genuinely don't know what this movie's about. And Kraven, like, is a cool character.
I feel like it's easy to make a decent Kraven story.
Just like even this movie's rated R, and even the like kills in this movie aren't that gory or fun.
No, it's a very PG-13 rated R film. Like, it feels like they got the clearance to go full R late in the game, and they're like, oh, well, we already kind of shot it this way. There's not a lot of blood.
Fuck into one sentence.
Yeah, and Ariana DeBose is gonna say motherfucker like one time, and sure, fine, get your rated R, your R rating that way, fine, I guess. But the violence is toothless. Like, there's nothing like visceral. You see like maybe the best kill in one of the, I think, the Red Band trailers involving a bear trap, and that lasts for half a second. Like, it's gone in a flash.
Just like you.
Okay, wow. Really threw a curveball right there. I mean, I do my best. Sorry. I do my best.
Anyways, go on.
I can't come back from that.
What I will say, Christopher Abbott is sweet in this movie. He plays a character called the Foreigner, right? And like, he can, I don't know what his powers are either.
I also don't know if he's like a comic book character, or if he's just someone written for the movie. I have no idea. I have no familiarity with him.
I love Christopher Abbott, and he was like, he's just a good actor, and his performance in the movie, I was like, you seem like you understand this movie, because like, you're having fun with it a little bit. And his powers were cool, and that was all I liked about this movie.
Yeah, no one is in the same movie in this movie. Every actor is giving a different performance. Aaron Taylor Johnson is so wonky on his his accent. He's from America in some scenes. He's from Russia. He has a London accent in aspects. And Russell Crowe's very serious. Aaron Taylor Johnson's kind of like jokey and serious. And then the guy that is playing Rhino, who again I already forgot his name, is very jokey and just hamming the shit up, just really going for it. And he's fun to watch, but they're not in the same movie. Like, no one here belongs in the same film. So I don't know. It was a hard watch. I had 40 ounces of McGolden Light to get me through it, and a medium popcorn. But some of the people in our audience were reacting at least to aspects of the film, which was kind of fun to hear them laugh at some really shitty jokes. But
also, a sign of a very boring movie is when there's like a family with kids in the theater, and the kids are just kind of like anxiously like adjusting their seat.
Yeah.
Or like one of the kids was just like on the railing, just like moving around and doing shit. And you're like, wow, they can't even like sit down for a couple hours.
That, and like the movie it fucking just crawls to the end. There's 15 minutes of ending, like, epilogue where it's just like, get there, just cut to black, be done with this fucking movie. And these kids sitting next to us are already, like, kind of standing, which it's a rated R movie, and these kids are maybe 5 years old, which I'm not going to say anything, parent your kids however you want to parent, but I'm like, really, you brought them to see this? Again, it wasn't that, like, hard R, but yeah, they're just standing, walking around, just anxious, because, like, they can kind of sense that this movie's almost done, right?
It's gotta be.
It's gotta be done. And I checked my watch maybe 5 times, like, fuck, we got 20 minutes left, and it's gonna feel like an hour left of this movie. It is rough. I'd rather watch Madam Web over this. I've seen half of Morbius because I fell asleep during that movie. I'd rather rewatch that instead of watch Kraven again. Any of the Venom movies I'd rather rewatch before sitting down to watch Kraven again. It's not a good time. It's not even fun.
It's I don't know. I didn't expect to say that it could be the worst Sony Spider-Man universe, whatever the fuck they're calling this.
Yeah.
I hope it ends. I hope they never make another movie in this universe again. I don't want it. I don't need it. I all of them. Even like the best one, which I think is Venom. We probably both agree on that.
Yeah.
Or like Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
Venom and Venom 2.
Those are like the two best of these. Even those movies, like, they're not good. There's just like there's fun aspects to them. Like, this experiment just failed. Just stop it. Please be done.
quit trying to retain your rights. Like, that's basically what these are for. So just let them lie. You're making all your Spider-Man money via Marvel putting out actual good Spider-Man content, which, like, Sony, they are in charge of the Spider-Verse movies, the animated films, and those are great. Maybe just stick with that. Stick with that. Stick with your PlayStation division, because whenever I see the little Sony blink in front of a Spider-Man made movie, I know it's going to be dog shit. So, just stop. Stop doing live action shit. Stick to animation. Stick to your video games. You're doing it. You're doing it well on those ends, but maybe just stop.
Stop. Just I don't know. And I will say I think Aaron Taylor Johnson is a good choice for the character of Kraven. That's why I was excited for this movie.
Just a bad movie for him to be in.
Just awful movie, awful writing. Everything's bad. It's not good. So yeah, that's. Yeah, but it was fun seeing it and just laughing. Every couple minutes. Throughout the movie.
Honestly, the thing that's the hardest or worst part of this movie is the script. The dialogue is bad, and there's some very laughable lines, and that was maybe the saving grace that kind of got me through. While a lot of it is a slog and it's boring and the action's not that like fun or inventive, some of the lines are really poorly written and poorly delivered, and that, at least, there's some enjoyment to be had there. So, unless you're absolutely fucking black drunk, just, like, wasted in the cinema trying to watch this movie, don't go see it. Not worth it.
No, don't see it. Don't see it. There's so many other better things in theaters right now.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to watch a better movie from the same director, J.C. Chandor, definitely check out A Most Violent Year from 2014. It stars Oscar Isaac, Jessica Chastain, Albert Brooks, who you may know as the voice of Marlin in Finding Nemo and Finding Dory.
What a wild reference for A Most Violent
Every time I hear him talk, I just hear Marlin.
Okay. Good.
I'm sure other people feel the same way.
Probably. Maybe.
This movie is so much better than Kraven. It takes place in New York City in 1981. Oscar Isaac plays an immigrant who is fighting to protect his business and family during the most dangerous year in the city's history. I know you really like this movie and have been recommending it to me for a long time. And going into this week, I wanted to catch up on it before seeing Kraven. So this movie's great. It's not like the title. I feel it could be a little deceiving to people because it's not a violent like action movie. It's not a violent crime movie. Like there's crime. It's like crime adjacent, I would say, where it's kind of Oscar Isaac trying to expand his business, and there's a lot of other competitors within New York, and obviously there's a lot of violence that comes from these, members of these different businesses and organizations and gangs and that sort of stuff. So it's more of like a subtle crime type of movie, which I really appreciated. It's not a flashy movie by any means. It's very dialogue driven. Oscar Isaac is so good in this movie. Honestly, he's great in everything.
Yeah, he is. And Jessica Chastain is one of my favorite actresses. I sat down to watch this movie a long time ago when it first came out. It was one I missed in theaters, but I quickly kind of caught up on later that year. It's a movie about a guy just trying to do an honest work, like honest job. He wants to do things the right way in a world and in a setting that is so destined to not do things the right way, to have gang involvement and all this stuff go kind of south. He's like, no, I want to be reputable. I want to be a good man. Like, I want to raise a business. He has a family in this film. I want to protect my family. I don't want to do anything in a way that's going to threaten them or cause harm to anyone. Like, he's like, I'm just here to do my job and do it well. And there's a lot of just aspects of his character I really respect, and I really enjoy watching his character kind of morph throughout the movie as he's struggling with that almost adherence to being good when everything around him is trying to make him bad, and he's just like, I can't do that. Like, that's not who I am. And I don't know, it's a moving movie. It's visually one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen. The use of color in this film, just the lighting, it's like there's a lot of teal and like gold accents, and I really love the way this film looks. It's one of, I think, the most beautifully filmed movies I've ever seen. Oscar Isaac, Jessica Chastain both are insane in the movie. There are a couple of really good scenes, especially when Jessica Chastain finds a gun.
Yes.
Like a loaded gun. And she's like, this is around your family. You have kids. And she's reprimanding him and giving him just such a hard time. And she is so much of like his, like she aligns with his core values. And she's there to correct him whenever he somewhat strays off cue or tends to show flashes of like, maybe we have to do things like the bad way, the way that everyone else does it, like to stay alive. And she's like, nope. You can't budge on that. And it's a really commanding performance. And I feel like the performance in this movie when it came out, they kind of got slept on. I don't think there was a lot of credit position to both of them, but they both are knockouts in this movie.
Yeah, Jessica Chastain is great, and kind of to her point, or to your point, her character is very dynamic too, because there's the scene early on where like they hit a deer, I think it is, in the road, and then Oscar Isaac's like gonna grab like the tire iron or something and beat it, and she just pulls out the gun and shoots it, and there's just other stuff where she is taking charge in a lot of situations and really challenging him, and you see his morals tested throughout this movie, like you said, when he's trying to make all these right choices and do everything the right way, and that's being contested by a lot of people in his life. So this movie is really good. It's a slept-on movie for sure. Mm-hmm. And I think, I wish this would have gotten more awards love, because it's really, really enjoyable and very well made. So watch this instead of Kraven.
Yeah, definitely. And I think this A24.
I think so.
I think it's A24, but it's kind of one of their like less talked about films. It's a little slept on. It's especially since it kind of missed out, or was just like on the cusp of awards buzz from that year. I feel like it kind of gets a little lost in translation. Not a lot of people go back and revisit it. Obviously, I think J.C. Chandor is a great director. Don't know what the fuck happened with Kraven, except for maybe just Sony being too involved, or this bad script, whatever. You can point fingers, I think, at just about anyone in that production. But J.C. Chandor is a very capable director. I always reference and say, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. This is in my top 100 films of all time. I sat down and I picked out all of my top 100 films. This is number 96, which doesn't sound like it's a lot, but of all the movies I've ever seen in my life, which I'm thinking is north of 10,000. I don't know if that math is at all viable, but that's the number I'm going to roll with. Do you think I've seen 10,000 movies in my life?
Interesting.
Is that possible?
Actually, I'm going to look at my Letterboxd right now, because I log all my movies in there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know how many are in there.
There was a year where I sat down and watched at least 1 to 2 movies a day. So that year was a profitable year. Maybe 10,000 is a very unrealistic number now that I'm thinking about it. But I've seen a lot of movies in my life. I love movies. This is number 96. Of all the films I've ever seen in my life, this is on my top 100. I can't recommend it enough. It is a bit of a more character-driven slow burn. So if it's not for you, it's not for you. Maybe it won't work. But it's a really good character drama, character piece about this man just trying to do well for his family. So, Corey, I'm happy that you finally sat down and were able to watch it. I'm happy that Kraven brought at least something good.
Yes.
With you watching a movie made by J.C. Chandor that I very much love and should probably go back and rewatch actually here shortly. But, yeah, Kraven's bad. Most Violent Year, good. Director J.C. Chandor, he is capable of doing great work. So be sure to check that out if you are interested. A movie I did catch up on this past week that came out a couple weeks ago and was in limited release, but I finally was able to catch it, was Queer, directed by Luca Guadagnino, director of this earlier Challengers, as well as Call Me By Your Name, which is a film of mine that is one of my favorite romance movies. Stars Daniel Craig, Drew Starkey, Leslie Manville, Jason Schwartzman, which he's wearing a fat suit for I don't know why, but it was just interesting seeing him in a very big fat suit. He's definitely like a bear in the gay community. But anyway, the synopsis: Lee, played by Daniel Craig, recounts his life in Mexico City among American expatriate college students and bar owners surviving on part-time jobs and GI Bill benefits. He is driven to pursue a young man named Allerton, played by Drew Starkey. It's a movie about unreciprocated love, especially in the queer community in the 1950s in Mexico, and I wish I could say I loved this movie, because what I have seen, directed by Luca Guadagnino, his Suspiria, Call Me By Your Name, those movies work for me 100%. I love both of those movies. This one, and I know you haven't seen this, so I'm trying my best to sell it. I think Daniel Craig gives one of his best performances I've ever seen him give. And he's my favorite James Bond. Like, I love him in Layer Cake. He is an actor I will go out to watch no matter what.
Benoit Blanc.
I forget about that. Like, he's just so awesome in everything he does. And he's great here. I don't know if I really recognize Drew Starkey in anything else aside from this movie, but he was also fantastic. Jason Schwartzman, like I mentioned, he is really good. He's kind of like almost like a comedic relief if this movie was going to have comedic relief. It's a very serious movie, like I said, about unreciprocated love and just loneliness and a guy with addiction issues, and it's devastating. It's very slow moving. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes, which I heard that there was like a 3-hour long cut of this movie, which I don't know if I could sit down for, because this movie is very slow moving. it makes that 2-hour 15 runtime kind of already feel like 3 hours. The pacing isn't necessarily bad. It just gets clunky, especially towards the third act. There's this jungle section of the film where they go on a little traveling date, him and Daniel Craig and Drew Starkey do, and it just slows the movie down to just like a snail's pace. Which, when it's slow at the beginning and they're in Mexico City and everyone's wearing these white beige suits and everyone's just coated in sweat, it's hot, everyone's like drinking excessively, they're just having one night stands, like, and it's just kind of like this gross world where people just live like passionately and they just go do whatever they want. That I can watch, and I can watch that unfold slowly. But when it kind of goes through its plot points and they go to the jungle, and I'm like, when are you guys gonna get the fuck out of this jungle? I don't know. The movie, it's a bit long in the tooth. I admire. It's one of those movies where you respect it more than I would say I liked it. I am not fully set on how I feel about this movie. If I had to review it right now, I'd give it like a B-, because I think it's made well. There's some surrealistic and psychedelic elements to the film, especially in that latter half where they're trying to represent things in a way that speaks to these characters and what they're going through, but I feel like it almost overcomplicated things and jumbled what they were trying to say. And I feel like there's a more concise way that they could have said it. So, I don't know. I had a wild theater-going experience. Corey, I know you had a wild theater-going experience earlier this week, too, so we can talk about that with Interstellar. But in this movie, I sat next to, like, 3 seats down from these two guys, maybe 50 years old, talking the entire movie, commenting on any scene change, any set decoration, any character decision, anything that popped up on screen that was new. They had to fucking acknowledge it. And when the movie finally cuts to black, one of the guys down sitting to my right says, "Well, it's no defying gravity." Like, what the fuck are you doing? And I didn't, and I'm all for telling people to shut up. Like, stop. Just be quiet, enjoy the movie. You're being disrespectful to the people around you who also paid money to be here. I didn't, and I really wish I did. There's few things that make me more mad in life, and I think about assaulting them physically. Like, I was like, damn, the more I sit with it, I really am pissed about it. But anyway, Queer, I don't know if I could recommend it to really a lot of people. If you know Luca Guadagnino's work, maybe try and see it, seek it out. It might not be your favorite of his, but it is an interesting movie, and again, the performances are lights out. So you'll get rewarded in that sense. And whether the final act of the movie really works for you or not, that's going to be left up to you. But I admire the swings that it attempts to take. Yeah.
I'll definitely check it out at some point. I don't know if I'll catch it in theaters, but I actually liked Challengers from earlier this year. I know you haven't seen that yet.
I missed that one.
But I enjoy that movie, and I think it's pretty good.
Golden Globe nomination for comedy.
That's right, the best comedy of the year, Challengers.
So funny,
which
I've heard.
We will get into that later, of the whole fuckery of the Golden Globes. But Daniel Craig is obviously getting a lot of awards buzz for this movie, so I'm definitely want to check it out for that reason. And he's also one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's always great. But yeah, speaking of your point of bad theater experiences,
and your trip to the theater.
And my trip, yeah. So I was on my way to see Interstellar in IMAX, which we talked about last week or the week before. Getting a 10th anniversary re-release, and I'm going to an AMC theater, which I'm already not happy about because of the 18 trailers and then 4 AMC ads that play before.
Nicole Kidman, and then letting you know that you're at an AMC theater while you're sitting in one. Yeah, trying to market to you if you didn't already buy the fucking ticket.
Yeah, like, I know I'm here. That's why you don't have to tell me that I'm at an AMC. But on my way there, like, 3 people cut me off and, like, almost got in a crash, just fucking around. And I'm like, wow, I'm already kind of in a bad mood for seeing one of, like, honestly, one of my favorite movies on fucking IMAX, which is great because I didn't get to see it in theaters when it first came out in 2014. And first of all, I'll talk about the movie itself. Like, the screening was great. Like, just seeing every sequence of this movie looks fucking amazing, and especially in space, like when they're going through the wormhole and then the black hole at the end when they're like slingshotting around it, looks insane. It looks better than anything that's coming out right now.
Yeah.
This movie was 10 years ago. And just, there were so many sequences that I had goosebumps, and like, I honestly started like tearing up just because like it was so amazing to watch some of these scenes, like on Miller's planet, the water, the kind of shallow water that they're on, and then they see like, oh, there's like mountain in the background. They're like, that's not a mountain, that's a wave. And they're like, the score is taking, like you have the clock like every 1.25 seconds, like it's clicking, which is a day on Earth. So it's like that little detail is sweet. And then they're trying to get out of there as the waves coming in. Also the docking sequence. I mean, the no time for caution score is playing.
Just sending it in a circle, trying to line it up.
That is insane. And like seeing that in IMAX just like fucking sent me into a tizzy.
It's an awesome movie. I'm jealous because, like I said, when I saw it in 2014, it was on just Buffalo Cinema's generic theater screen. Like, it wasn't anything special because I didn't really have that anticipation for it. When I saw it, I was like, oh, it's Christopher Nolan, whatever. It's a space movie, sure, whatever. Any movie will do, or any theater will do, at least in terms of how it's going to look. And I'm really jealous that you actually got to catch it in IMAX and see just it in its entirety.
The only downfall of seeing this movie was my theater going experience, which I've just had a string of terrible theater going experiences. I think I talked about when I saw Nora.
Yeah, like, the guy, the older dude.
It's just been wild, and this time, I won't get into all of it because there was so much, but the guy on my left was mouth-breathing the entire movie, and then he was nodding his head, falling asleep, drops his popcorn everywhere, he's scrambling, trying to get that, just as they're, like, on, like, as Matt Damon's coming on screen, and he's just fumbling around with shit. And then, behind me, everyone's adjusting and, like, kicking the back of my seat as they're moving their legs around, or, like, walking up to go to the bathroom, whatever. And then, the two people next to me, just the most insane behavior I've ever seen. Before the movie even starts, every trailer that would play, and there's 18 of them, like I said, at AMC, so the movie starts 45 minutes after it should actually start. Mm-hmm. After every single trailer, it would be like Nosferatu trailer. It would end. Guy next to me, pass. Next trailer would play. It would be like for, something else. Pass. And I'm like, is this going to happen the whole time? What are we going to do?
Every fucker in a theater thinks that they're the center of the Truman Show. Like, this is their world. They're in charge of everything. They can say whatever the fuck they want. They're going to do their stupid bit, and you have to laugh at it. Like, shut the fuck up. When you go to a movie, other people are here to watch the movie.
They were commenting throughout the entire movie. Like, they were obviously big fans of this movie, and they were quoting lines, like every fifth line. And I was telling Mason earlier, like, Interstellar I fucking love. It's not the most, like, quotable movie. No. Like, there's some good lines for sure, but it was just random-ass lines that were just normal dialogue that they would quote. So I'm like, you guys obviously know this movie well. But then the person next to him was still, like, responding to the movie in a way like she hadn't seen it before, where she's like, oh, no, don't do that. Oh, what? Oh, no. Oh, the ship's not going to dock. Oh, no. And just commenting the entire fucking movie. And it was so annoying. And it honestly, like, ruined the experience a little bit of seeing Interstellar in IMAX. So if you go to the theater, just don't talk. Yeah. Like, it's not that hard. And if you want to talk, don't go to a movie.
Yeah, and if you want to be on your phone, don't go to a movie. Or step out. When we saw Kraven today, I went to go get an extra beer. I took my sweet-ass time because I knew I didn't have to rush back for Kraven. So I went on my phone, did a little holiday shopping, walked back in. And I was like, oh, movie's still happening. That's fantastic. Waddle up to my seat with my new beer and sit down and enjoy the hellscape that I saw. But, yeah. No, if you're going to be in a movie theater, you have to understand you're not in your living room. You're with other people that paid money to be here. You have no right to act in any sort of way that's going to be distracting. It's disrespectful, and I always hate when you try to correct someone's behavior or just be like, hey, can you please, like, you're talking a lot, can you please be quiet? And they're like, you're the problem for bringing it up to them?
Yeah.
You're like, they're like offended by it. You're like, no. You need to recognize that you're the one in the wrong here, and I'm trying to be nice to you right now.
Everyone else is thinking what I'm saying right now. You're in the wrong.
Yeah, like when we went and saw Puss in Boots Last Wish, and it was just you and I at a very late showing, like a 9 o'clock showing in a theater, and there was like maybe like 4 middle school boys up far right behind us, and they're talking, and I just turned to them, hey, shut the hell up. And it's like, in hindsight, I'm like, I just told like a bunch of like potentially middle school age guys to just really like shut up as 2 adult men watching Puss in Boots.
The gayest shit that's ever happened in our life.
But that's, like, it's fine. It's fine. I just need people to like just respect others in terms of watching movies, and like just you have to acknowledge you're not the only one there. But regardless, something that did come out and is a weekly release that I am happy to talk about is Creature Commandos. It is one of the few TV shows I'm actually keeping up with weekly from this year. Episode 3 dropped, which was very G.I. Robot-centric and about him just slaughtering Nazis. Killing Nazis. And it was so awesome.
So much fun.
I'm so into this show. I eagerly await every episode dropping on Thursdays. James Gunn he's doing it again in terms of like the Suicide Squad, the ragtag group. He knows how to do things super, like his comedic timing is on fire, but also he's willing to have like almost like subtly emotional and down points in these episodes, these 20-minute episodes. And he's willing to walk that tightrope, balance it out all like perfectly, have these characters interact with each other, and there's stakes in their interactions. Even though we're getting, like I said, 20-minute animated episodes, these characters, what happens, the choices they make, things are devastating, and the consequences that they face, and what happens. But G.I. Robot is an all-star. What a goat this episode.
So good. Something I really appreciate about this show is that with so many shows, you'll see like maybe midway through the season, you'll get a flashback episode. Mm-hmm. And with especially the last 2 episodes, we had episode 2 was kind of more about the bride. Episode 3 was about G.I. Robot more and just kind of their backstory. But it's integrated into the present storyline. Mm-hmm. And I think that is really smart to do because even though those flashback episodes and shows are very important for characters, it kind of kills the momentum of where your current story is going. So I think James Gunn is killing it in that front. But yeah, like he's always been great at like Guardians of the Galaxy, like having this group of characters, and they're funny and they're fun to be with, but they also do have so many good moments of heart. All 3 Guardians movies have like tear-jerking scenes that are really fun, and like even Suicide Squad too. Like there's some good scenes in there for sure. So I love that this is the start to the new DC universe. Like that gives me a lot of hope that. Knowing what to put on streaming and knowing what to put in theaters, I think is important because that's something that the MCU I think has struggled with a bit. Yeah. Or even just knowing like what to make, like what projects should we be making. This is a really smart one, and this is a great way to have some of these weird characters in animation, and it's been so much fun to watch every week.
And I kind of hope like that what you said about every episode almost being like its own contained flashback that still plays into the current story of what's happening. I hope they continue that with every episode at this point. I want to see flashbacks for Nina and for... I don't know if we need one with Rick Flag Sr., but I'll see it, like, happily. Whenever we do get more of that Frankenstein and Bride dynamic, I'd happily see more flashbacks of their story, because their story is really compelling to me. But, yeah, I can't wait again for Thursday. Creature Commandos has me checking in every Thursday. I can't say the same about Dune Prophecy or Skeleton Crew, but Creature Commandos, you got my time and you got my eyes on you. So I'm excited for this upcoming Thursday to get another great episode.
Hell yeah. So in the midst of watching Creature Commandos and Dune Prophecy and Skeleton Crew and all the other things that are coming out, I have started watching Succession. So I just wanted to briefly mention that because I just finished season 1 the other night. This is a show, obviously, it's been nominated for and won a fuck ton of Emmys, and everybody talks about it, like, especially last year, like, when the last season was coming out, I feel like everybody was like, this is the best thing that's ever come out, and I kind of got annoyed by it. I feel like that happens sometimes with, like, really popular shows, like, I'll take a while to actually get into it.
Game of Thrones.
It's a great show. Watch it, fucker.
I don't know if I'll ever watch Game of Thrones, just based on everyone in my life telling me I need to watch Game of Thrones. Who knows? Maybe I will. I don't know. I just have no desire.
I know your ass. I might. I tell you to watch Better Call Saul, and you're like,
I watched the first 2 seasons of Better Call Saul, and I just kind of lost interest. So,
fucking idiot.
Anyway, Succession. I'm not even the biggest fan of Succession either. So,
but I really dug this show. Like I said, I just finished the first season. It's created by Jesse Armstrong. You got an all-star cast in there: Brian Cox, Kieran Culkin, Jeremy Strong, Sarah Snook, Matthew McFadden, who plays a good smarmy British dude, or not even a British dude. He plays a smarmy British dude in Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. But he just plays a weird guy in Succession. But it's really fun to watch. Essentially, it's just the Roy family, and they have one of the biggest media and entertainment company conglomerates in the world. And it's really just them kind of struggling of control of that, as Brian Cox is the dad. And then he has his kids that are kind of trying to usurp him and take over. And there's other players, other business people coming into it. And the writing on this show is fucking great. All the characters are super interesting. Kieran Culkin is obviously kind of the standout of like the oddball out of the group who isn't as established as like a Jeremy Strong, who's kind of the successor. who is the most kind of business forward, and Kieran Culkin is very much just like kind of goofing around and just like doing weird shit in his office, which is hilarious to watch.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I told you about his scene,
yeah.
yeah. And I'm sure if you've seen the show, when he's in his office just looking out the window doing something.
Yeah, out the window.
Yep.
On the window.
On the window. But Sarah Snook is also really good. I haven't seen her in too much stuff, but she's really, really solid in the show. So I'm excited to keep watching it, but I just wanted to give a little shout out. This first season also did win Best Writing and Best Title Theme Music, which the Succession theme fucking rips. I love it. I never skip that. I always love watching that. So I'll keep updating you guys with the other seasons and what I think as I'm catching up on one of the bigger shows of the last few years.
Yeah, it's one that one of our good friends, Sid, was watching it, and I walked into the room, and I saw an episode, and I watched maybe like 20 minutes contained within this one episode, and the amount of, just the camera work of it, I couldn't get past the zooms and the way the camera is, like, kind of worked through a scene. It grated at me, so I haven't sat down to sit, like, and watch this season or this show through and through. Who knows? Maybe I'll just enter into that Game of Thrones where everyone just tells me I should watch it and I don't. We'll see. But I'm happy that you're liking it, because it does feel like a show that I would like and that you would like. So it makes sense. I'm happy that you're sitting down and to have someone to talk to about it, even though I haven't really gone too far into the show. But yeah, Succession Season 1, it's easily one of the biggest shows of the last maybe 5 to 10 years. So moving into one of the maybe potentially biggest movies of 2024, a movie I'm literally couldn't give a shit about, like less of a shit. I have no interest in this, and I'm so happy that Corey designated that I should talk about this one in today's show notes. Mufasa the Lion King.
Yeah, kill it, buddy.
Fuck yes. Oh, can't wait. Oh, a fully CG animated film with lions at the center.
When walking there.
Lions. With the lions, which I'm already not a fan of The Lion King. The animated one, the classic that everyone loves. I don't like that movie, and it's good, and I don't like it. But anyway, fuck it. Mufasa, Lion King, directed by Barry Jenkins, a very competent, amazing director, made Moonlight, If Beale Street Could Talk, which it's kind of a blessing in disguise that we talked about A Most Violent Year and If Beale Street Could Talk in the same episode, because those two movies are kind of what I look to in terms of just some of the most beautifully, visually lit movies I've ever seen. The coloring and the color grading is fantastic in both of those. This movie stars Kelvin Harrison Jr., Aaron Pierre, Seth Rogen, and Billy Eichner. Cool. Can't wait. Mufasa! You know the big fucking lion that died in the first Lion King? We're gonna tell his backstory. You can't wait. Mufasa, this dumb bitch, a cub, lost and alone, meets a sympathetic lion named Taka. Oh. The heir to a royal bloodline. Can't wait. The chance meeting sets in motion an expansive journey of a group of misfits searching identity.
For their destiny. Dumb fuck.
Doesn't matter. Dog shit. I can't read, and it
Straight
doesn't
off,
matter.
Yeah.
I'll beat you to the punch.
Straight off IMDb.
Doesn't matter. Searching for their destiny. I don't give a fuck. And I know you like Lion King, the animated movie. That's
of course.
Great. And I will acknowledge that I think it is a well-made movie. I think the music is iconic. The music makes me think of Africa by Toto, which Africa by Toto is one of my least favorite songs in the world, so I fucking hate it. I can't... You're gonna have Matthew Broderick voice the son of James Earl Jones? You're gonna have fucking Ferris Bueller as Simba. Fucking... Be a little whiny bitch to his dad, who's literally fucking Darth Vader. He's gonna voice Mufasa. Makes sense. Awesome. Powerful character. Matthew Broderick, this little dumb bitch, is gonna be Simba. Solid. Love that. And I like Matthew Broderick, but not as Simba. I think that movie is stupid. Stupid.
Yeah, coming from somebody that loves that movie.
It's logical.
I've never really met
Fuck this
somebody
movie.
that Mason and his wife Allie are the only two people that have ever told me they don't like this movie, which is just wild to me. That you guys found each other, I guess. That was almost in the best man speech. It got cut for time.
You could have included it.
Got cut for time.
We probably would have clapped.
Yeah, you probably would have. You know what? I
fuck the Lion King.
Like I said,
that's a stupid live action remake.
That one sucks. It's the same fucking thing. It sucks, but you can't see the emotions from like a lion, like an animation, the like 2D animation. You can like have like animated characters and animated animals like show emotion. Yeah. When you're trying to do this photorealistic fucking lions, like they're not reacting to shit.
Which I will say, in the trailers for this, the trailers, I feel like they're not so photo real. Like, I feel like
it looks a little bit better.
Yeah, they have a little bit more of an expression within the lions' faces. Because honestly, you look at a fucking, like, it's what, National, whatever, Digest, whatever the fuck those stupid
National Geographic. National Digest.
The stupid like animal catalogs that come out every year that you'd see on like paid programming. You're like, fuck, maybe I should buy this one with the giraffe on the cover. Hell yeah! But they look like they can express, and maybe
a little bit more.
And I, from what I've heard about this movie, it's better than the 2019 remake, which I don't know a lot of people that actually like that movie.
No, it's not good. The only thing with this movie that like could potentially be better is that it's a new story.
Yeah.
Where it's not just doing the original again, so it's like, for that, I'll give it a little bit of like, okay, this is cool, and like, Barry Jenkins coming in is just still wild to me that he's doing this movie, not like doing another Oscar drama or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I'm going to see this in theaters. I know you're not going to.
I definitely will not. If I were to see this in theaters, it would be to cause issues for everyone else in the theater. Negative interest in this fucking movie. Except for Barry Jenkins. He's a great director. I've liked everything that I've seen of his, and a lot of the stuff that I've seen kind of in terms of positive reaction to this film has referenced him, and obviously like that this film has been made by someone who's a fan of the original, loves this world, and I think the idea that it is an original story, but it's a prequel, so I'm like, I don't really want to see a story go backward. I'd rather just see it go forward, but also I don't care about the story that was told already, so it's
also,
not for me.
Maybe, I don't know this for sure, but definitely one of James Earl Jones' last performances. I think they have like some of the cast from the original, like the 2019 Lion King, and they're like Donald Glover and Beyonce, I think, are in it for a second. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't care. But, you know, R.I.P. James Earl Jones, though.
R.I.P. James Earl Jones. Sorry, I don't like The Lion King. You're the best in everything I've seen you in.
Yes. Big week for kind of family-oriented movies. Cause
with
we also,
animals at the fucking front.
That's
Jesus.
right, because we got Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which is crazy we have 3 of these fucking things. But I actually kind of enjoy the first 2 movies. They're not very surprising. The first one, at least when it was coming out, I was like, I don't care. I didn't even see it in theaters. Then I watched it on like Hulu or something, and I was like, this movie's not too bad. Like, it's kind of fun. But yeah, so Sonic 3, directed by Jeff Fowler, who did the first 2. And Ben Schwartz as the voice of Sonic. You got Jim Carrey coming back out of retirement to do this, because I think the script was just probably the best thing he's ever read. That's what he said. He would only come out of retirement if the script was amazing, and so this movie has to be fucking great. Idris Elba plays Knuckles. Keanu Reeves joining the cast, playing Shadow, the black one, which that's which as soon as I said that, I realized what that sounded like. Okay. As the hedgehog, I don't know, whatever. Just we're gonna move on.
The dark one.
All right, okay. I ain't trying to get canceled right now. I'm just whatever. Fucking Sonic. Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails are trying to fight him, and that's it. There's like, you know, it's a Sonic movie. They're gonna do shit, and like
I know nothing about the Sonic games. I've played the Sonic games, and I don't know like the world it's in. No. I liked the first one. It was like 2020. I don't know the exact year when it came out, but I watched that during COVID when I was just like, I need movies to watch because nothing's coming out. So I went back and watched Sonic, and I was like, wow, this movie's like actually endearing and pretty good. Sonic 2, I've seen half of. I saw it in theaters and fell asleep during it, but what I saw, I liked. I was just really drunk and tired.
Yeah, I like it.
So I'll likely see this in theaters. I'm excited about it. I know nothing about these fucking characters. I don't know what this world really reveals itself to be or what's in it. I know that there's supposedly 2 great post-credit scenes in this movie that hint to more Sonic movies to come. And these movies make bank at the box office. Yeah. So there's likely going to be a Sonic 4, 5, 6, however many fuckers they want to make, which, great. I love it. I'm fine with it. Movies making money.
If they're all good, then like, sweet.
And I love Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is one of my heroes. Keanu Reeves being in a Sonic movie is hilarious. Idris Elba as Knuckles is wild to me, but whatever. I think the casting has been great to this point. I'm excited to see what this third one is like, because I've heard in first reactions that this is the best of this trilogy so far. And if that's the case, then I would definitely like this movie, because I like what I've seen from the first 2. But yeah, another fucking animal movie this weekend with stupid fucking Mufasa. Anyway, moving into the real movies, not to be an elitist, but The Brutalist, directed by Brady Corbett. We talked about this earlier.
We did.
Still don't know. When they put a T at the end of something, it's like Margot, but it's spelt M-A-R-G-O-T. Like Margot? Anyway, I'm just trying to make a point. Anyway, directed by Brady Corbett. Director of Vox Lux, which is a film I actually really enjoy with Natalie Portman. Film stars Adrian Brody, Felicity Jones, and Guy Pearce, which I didn't know he was in this movie. Story is when an architect and his wife flee post-war Europe in 1947 to rebuild their legacy and witness the birth of modern America, their lives are changed forever by a mysterious and wealthy client. This movie's getting all sorts of awards buzz. I know little to nothing about it except for the runtime. But I still, with that being said, I'm excited to see it. What, 3.5 hours?
3.5 hours with an intermission. Which
they have an intermission.
I've never
bring that shit back.
I've never been to a movie in theaters with an intermission before.
I'm pretty sure Hateful Eight had one.
I didn't see that in theaters, so that's yeah. But I don't know. I'm really excited for this movie. I've heard amazing things, and yeah, all three of the actors in this movie are getting awards buzz. Brady Corbett's getting director stuff, so it's. I mean, you read the synopsis and it sounds like a Oscar. Oscar type movie. So, yeah, I like beyond that. Like, I don't know too much about it or Brady Corbett. I haven't seen Vox Lux, so I'm excited to see this movie. And I love Guy Pearce. I wish he was in more things.
I'm guessing, is he the wealthy client then that they're meeting? I'm guessing Adrian Brody and Felicity Jones. I don't know. I've watched the trailer and I don't really know much about this movie. I just know it's kind of like a coming to America immigrant story of trying to find success. So it's like that's all I have to base what my anticipation is. That and the awards talk that it's getting. So I'm excited for this film. I don't know when, where, how. I know I'm seeing this movie alone or with you. My wife is not going to go see a 3.5 hour movie that's based in 1947.
This feels like one we'll maybe see together.
Yeah,
I think this week it's coming out in limited release. And so I think like end of December. Well, I guess it's kind of already the end of December, but more towards the end of December.
It'll probably go into wide release sometimes or even in January.
Yeah. But yeah, another movie that's coming out in limited release this week is The Room Next Door, which is directed by Pedro Almodovar, who I actually have not seen any of his movies. But he's, in the last few years, especially with Parallel Mothers and Pain and Glory, which have both gotten Oscar nominations, and Talk to Her, which came out in 2002, I want to say, and he won an Oscar for that. I need to catch up on his movies because I've heard amazing things, but this movie stars Julianne Moore, Tilda Swinton, who got nominated for a Golden Globe for this movie, and John Turturro is in this movie as well, who I always love seeing. He's great. But it is about Ingrid and Martha, who are close friends in their youth, and they work together at the same magazine, and after years of being out of touch, they meet again in an extreme but strangely sweet situation. Again, I have not seen a trailer for this movie. Beyond that synopsis, I don't know much about it. But it's another awards-type movie that's in limited release now, getting some buzz. So, yeah, I'm curious to check it out. Yeah. I don't know if it'll be like at the top of my list for seeing the award stuff I want to check off, but definitely one I'm interested in for sure.
Like you, I haven't seen any of this director's films. I've heard of all of them, Parallel Mothers and Pain and Glory especially. Pain and Glory is the one I'm most excited to eventually watch. I know Antonio Banderas got a lot of love for that film. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about this movie up until today and us going through the show notes today, but I love the cast. Julianne Moore, Tilda Swinton, both great. Julianne Moore was in maybe one of my least favorite movies I've ever seen last year, which was May December. Fuck that movie. But I think she's a great actress. I love her in Crazy Stupid Love. I love her in just about anything she's been in except for May December. So, like Corey said, I don't know if I'll be catching this in theaters, but with the awards talk, I'm sure I'll try to reach out and catch it at some point, as well as Parallel Mothers and Pain and Glory, which kind of shows how good I am at catching up on movies from previous year's awards seasons. But yeah, I'm interested as all hell, and I definitely, especially with how this performs in terms of like Oscars and awards later on this season, I might have to definitely check this out. Moving on into physical media roundup, what we've picked up this week, which was kind of a light week for us, but I did finally snag Alien Romulus. I got the 4K Blu-ray, which comes with a sexy red slipcover, which I prefer you and I both agree on this. We prefer the design of the Blu-ray, which is it flips the color of the poster and it has a black background and a red character as opposed to the poster, which was red with black icons and black colors for the characters. But yeah, I picked that up, ordered on Amazon. Whenever I order anything on Amazon, I'm anticipating it to come in the worst, shitty, cling-wrapped condition with no slip. And this thing came in pristine condition with a nice slip, so I am thrilled by that, and I'm excited to watch it. I know Corridor Crew did put out a visual effects artist react bad and great CGI, talking about the CGI in that film, just because there's a lot of cool stuff that they do, and also some questionable stuff they do with a cyborg character. But yeah, excited to rewatch that film because I am a big fan of the Alien franchise, and I really did enjoy Alien Romulus. That may make it into my top 10 for 2024, but I still have a couple of movies this year that I need to see: Nosferatu, Brutalist, etc., etc. So we'll see if that hangs into my top 10. But Corey, did you pick up anything this week?
This week, I did not pick anything up, mainly because spent some money on Kendrick Lamar tickets. We're both going, and then my other buddy Sam is coming with. So that was kind of my purchase of the week. He's coming in April, and like coming off like the Drake beef and coming off the Super Bowl, like
his new fucking album.
New album, like I don't know how many more times Kendrick is going to be going on tour.
Yeah.
And like doing this, so I'm like, gotta see him live. Even if it's like shitty seats and the sound's not that great because it's at US Bank Stadium, which is where the Vikings play. And
US Bank is great for Vikings games, but
it's incredible.
In terms of concerts, the sound just
all the sound gets trapped at like the point, the like bow of the ship, the bow of the ship or whatever, like the fucking. So it's just like it all gets trapped in there. So it's not incredible. But yeah, so about those that this week, which I know we're both excited about. But kind of related to physical media stuff, which is some sad news, LG is going to stop producing Blu-ray players, which is just a wild thing because that's, I don't know, it's just like they're I feel like the big dog kind of, like them and Samsung are the two biggest ones really. But yeah, they announced that they are ceasing production on Blu-ray players, and even their latest ones, which were released like 6 years ago, they're discontinuing every one of them. So definitely, if you see them and you want to grab one, for sure get one. I know the like 4K players too, the Ultra HD ones. Like pick those up while you can. Mm-hmm. I know I obviously want to get like a 4K TV and a 4K player, and like now it's pushing me to do that sooner rather than later to like get a good quality one that I want, because I have a lot of movies like buying in 4K now, and I would love to watch those 4Ks instead of just the Blu-rays. So. It's just another step in the sad physical media with, like, you know, we've talked about Best Buy and Target not really carrying movies anymore, and then with LG stopping this.
And like Walmart's slowing up too.
Yeah, so it's just kind of a chain reaction of stuff as more people are just on streaming. They're like, well, what do I need a Blu-ray player for if I just watch it on streaming?
You need a Blu-ray player for the movie Hush, which is no longer on streaming, but they did just drop a Shout Select fucking 4K collector's edition of which you should get. So whenever people talk about streaming, it pisses me off because it's basically buy your channel. Who do you want to buy a channel for? We're going back to the days of cable. So fucking, I don't know. This is kind of sad, scary, but also kind of predictable news. I'm kind of surprised that they held out this long. I'm sad to see, like you said, kind of one of the big dogs in terms of production for Blu-ray players kind of ceasing production and just closing doors on it, and whatever you'll find will be what's left on the shelf, and that's it.
Also, this week, too, like, I feel like I saw it a lot online, and even with some people at work, and we'll talk about it a little bit in a little bit here, the 28 Years Later trailer came out. And people were saying, like, oh, I want to watch 28 Days Later. It's not on any streaming services. Like, how do we watch this movie? And, like, people at work were like, I have no way to watch this movie. I don't know how. And it's like, well, do you have, like, Blu-ray or DVD or something? And they're like, no, I don't like, have physical media really. So it's definitely something that affects a lot of people for sure. So definitely some sad news in that realm.
Mm-hmm. But this is a big release week in terms of new physical media. We do have a Blu-ray of Transformers 1, Blu-ray and 4K coming out, Joker Folie, Deux, which I have not seen, and I know a lot of people really love this movie.
Okay, I once you see it, we need to talk about it.
Yeah, because I've been kind of holding out because I didn't need a sequel to Joker. I know Corey actually really does enjoy this movie.
I don't mind it.
Yeah,
I don't mind it.
And which is kind of in the minority because a lot of people fucking hated Joker Folie.
That's right.
And I was interested in it. I like Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. I still haven't seen it. Might see it. Might watch it. Mostly just to be able to talk to you about it. But so yeah, Transformers 1, Joker Folie, Deux, Terrifier 3, which is a slasher film I absolutely fucking love, in a franchise I adore, and I can't wait for more. We also got Conclave coming out, Piece by Piece, which is a film I don't know if I've really heard of. Is that the
Pharrell
That is
Lego
the Pharrell
one.
Lego
Yep.
documentary. Okay. We'll never watch that. Thank you. And the Stir of Echoes 4K.
Have you seen that 4K of Stir of Echoes?
It's sexy.
Lenticular slipcover on there. I've never seen the movie, but that 4K looks so fucking nice, and I'm so excited. I know you pre-ordered the Transformers 1 4K Steelbook, which I love the artwork on that.
I pre-ordered the Transformers 1 Steelbook. That will be coming, I think, sometime this week, as well as Terrifier 3. I'll be getting both those Steelbooks this week, a little early Christmas to myself. But, yeah, big week. Pick up what you want, pick up what you can. It's kind of scary with LG closing the doors, but I will always be a big fan of collecting physical media. And yeah, we got Terrifier 3, Conclave. There's a lot of movies here that I'm excited to get.
I hope Conclave is like in stores, because some of these bigger ones like you'll see in stores, but some of the smaller kind of awards movies, like
you go to Barnes and Noble and it's listed at $50. You're like, all right, what the fuck is this?
I want
this
movie,
is
but
a
not for
standard
that much.
Blu-ray. Like, settle down.
Yeah, but like I love Conclave, and I've really actually been in the mood to rewatch that movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so good release week. But now moving into some movie news. We got a lot of movie news
time to stretch.
this week.
This is going to get fucking long.
Mason's stretching. So we're going to do, kind of like we did last week, a little awards roundup. We had some big award shows announce their nominations this week with both the Golden Globes and the Critics' Choice Awards. So not going to go through everything, obviously, but I'll just kind of read off the main things. Then we can talk about surprises, snubs, things we're excited about. With the Golden Globes, they split it into Best Drama and Best Musical and Comedy. So for Best Drama, it's Dune 2, Conclave, The Brutalist. I put Conclave twice. Cool. And then September 5th, A Complete Unknown and Nickel Boys. And then Musical or Comedy is A Real Pain, Anora, Challengers, Amelia Perez, Wicked, and The Substance. And then as far as Critics' Choice nominations for Best Picture, they are A Complete Unknown, Anora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune 2, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boys, Sing Sing, The Substance, and Wicked. I love award season. Like I love tracking every like nominations and all like the smaller ones, like even like the LA Film Critics Circle, like all these small ones I really enjoy. So this is a fun time of year. And for me, like there's not a ton of surprises as far as these big awards. Like it's more or less what I kind of expected from here. What I did want to mention is in the Golden Globes, the dumbass musical or comedy category every year is just so like what Challengers is a comedy and fucking Anora, like it's not a comedy, like that's not. I haven't seen Amelia Perez yet, but like Wicked is about the only movie that makes sense. The Substance is in here.
Yeah,
what
not a comedy. Not a comedy. I'm not the biggest. I love the Oscars, and I'll watch those that award show. That is my award show. That is my favorite night of the year every year when the Oscars play. Even if they're gonna have Conan host, doesn't matter. Golden Globes, I've never been the biggest fan of. It just doesn't feel like a legitimate award to me. Also, I hate the way that they separate it into don't separate it into genres. Just do what the Oscars do. Hey, these are the 10 best films of the year, and we're gonna pick a winner. I don't get why the fuck Substance is technically a comedy or being classified as a comedy this year. Some of the acting nominations are kind of wild. Hugh Grant and Heretic, but in the musical or comedy...
Funniest movie of the year?
Yeah, fucking Heretic's a hilarious movie, I guess. I mean, I get Jesse Eisenberg. You and I were talking about Jesse Plemons and Kinds of Kindness.
Which I love that movie.
That's awesome that he got nominated,
Yeah.
but like... Even Kinds of Kindness, it might be listed as a comedy. That movie's... I didn't laugh in terms of like a normal comedy, so maybe that's just more me. Sebastian Stan, I don't know if A Different Man is a comedy film. Again, I have issues, and there's just flaws here with their system, and I feel like it's something that's always prevalent. Like when Martian was nominated for Best Motion Picture, Comedy, or Musical.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, that's not a comedy. That's a drama. It's a sci-fi film. Like, I feel like they need to either course correct how they kind of categorize these films, or just do away with the musical or comedy tag and just put like Best Motion Picture genre, like as opposed to like a drama, which I think is kind of like what you'd more anticipate from an awards show. I'm excited to see some of these noms, especially Daniel Craig for getting a nomination. Like I said, for Queer, he was really good in. Coleman Domingo still getting love for Sing Sing is big. I'm surprised to see Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. I haven't seen that movie. I don't know if I really heard much, except for kind of the controversy behind a movie about Donald Trump, especially in the way we live now. Excited to see Pam Anderson. Last Showgirl?
I've heard it's incredible. I've heard she's great in that movie.
Yeah, I've heard about this movie, I think maybe a week ago, and now I'm seeing awards for it, so now it's like, fuck, maybe I need to catch up on this. But, I don't know. There's, like I said, I don't really pay much attention to the Golden Globes. There's a lot of nominations here that I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, Best motion picture animated, the fact that the Wild Robot is there, hell yeah. Inside Out 2, Flow, Moana 2, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, which I did not know that they're making. I think it's on Netflix. It might be available now. I honestly don't really remember, but I will definitely check that out soon. But yeah.
I was so happy to see The Substance get so much love. That's one thing I've been very curious about. I was like, is this movie going to get a lot of big nominations, or is it going to get like Demi Moore and a screenplay? But seeing that it's in Best Picture for these award shows, at least, gives me hope that it'll get nominated a lot at the Oscars, because I think that's a weird movie, but definitely deserving of some awards love. Just one other small thing I wanted to shout out. Saturday Night getting a little bit of love. Gabriel LaBelle in that movie, I think is really good. So I'm glad he got nominated.
I need to say the one foot up that the Golden Globes might have on the Oscars this year is that they're willing to recognize Dune Part 2 as being a best original score.
Yes.
The Oscars' complete mishandling of the way that Hans Zimmer's score, there's too much, a certain percentage of it that is too similar to the first Dune. It's like, when has this ever been an issue in terms of sequels? You've never brought this
Indiana
shit up.
Jones on the Dial of Destiny got nominated last year.
And
it's not even that great of a score.
And it's basically just the best parts are the reruns of John Williams' other shit. So the fact that Golden Globes are willing to recognize Dune Part 2 for its score, because it is one of my favorite scores of the year. It's amazing, and it's so well done. And it's not going to be at the Oscars, because the Oscars have their thumb up their ass, and they're dumb as fuck. But even though it's my favorite award show, every award show kind of mishandles things, and I'm happy to see that the Golden Globes are giving some attention to what I think deserves to potentially win Best Original Score this year. But yeah, Golden Globes, I don't know if I'll be tuning in. Also depends on the host, just because I feel like every host this past couple years.
Nikki Glaser is the host.
Oh, that's not bad. That's actually a good choice. I like her.
I think she's nominated for a comedy special too. So
okay. Yeah. All right, and then we also had the Critics' Choice nominations as well this week. Was that right?
Yeah, I read those off.
You already read through that shit?
Yeah,
I was so focused on the Golden Globes.
You don't even listen to me,
No,
man.
I don't. I never do. But Critics' Choice, this stuff means more to me, at least, than the Golden Globes. And yeah, there's kind of the obvious nominations. I'm excited to see more stuff, or more love for Wicked, just because that is such a high-up movie for me. Also, Best Supporting Actor for Yura Borisov for Nora, who played Igor, who was easily the best part of that film. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff I'd expect to see. I did not need Denzel Washington getting any sort of love for his work in Gladiator 2, because no one deserves love for their work in Gladiator 2. But yeah, aside from those big awards, we did get, like Corey mentioned, a 28 Years Later trailer. The film is directed by Danny Boyle, written by Alex Garland. I believe it releases in June of 2025, so this upcoming year. Wow. Love this trailer.
Trailer's sick.
Awesome trailer.
Yeah.
Spooky, that kind of wartime. It was a poem, right?
It's a Rudyard Kipling poem, yeah. It's haunting, it's creepy, and I think there's maybe two lines of dialogue in the whole trailer. And this is exactly what a trailer should do, is show you some interesting shots, have interesting music choices with it, and just give you a taste of what you're going to expect in this movie, but not giving away big plot points, not overstaying its welcome for a trailer. Be a minute and a half, show me, give me the vibe of this movie.
Yeah, and this is a perfect teaser. I love 28 Days Later. 28 Weeks Later is still pretty good. It's lesser than the original. The original, I think the way that they do the infected or the rage virus that is at the forefront of this trilogy now of films, I think it handles zombies and the infected in such a terrifying way, and the camera work in 28 Days Later is awesome. It's influential and just so special to that movie. I think that this franchise has really taken to effect, you get zombies and when they're slow, what is there really to be afraid of? That's why I don't like The Walking Dead that much. Oh, when they start running, when these guys are fucking sprinting at us, now I'm scared. So I'm super excited. I didn't watch this trailer actually until Kraven today when we were in the theater and it played in front of it. I was like, finally, I get to see this trailer, and the trailer's awesome. I'm sold on it. The cast is amazing. I can't wait to see this movie. I remember when they announced that they're making a sequel or a third movie in this franchise. I was like, is it necessary? But now I'm like, oh fuck yeah, I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
So can't wait for 28 Years Later.
Got the boys coming back, Danny Boyle and Alex Garland too. So that's sweet. Then we got a little bit of casting news. Austin Butler got cast in the American Psycho remake being directed by Luca Guadagnino.
Pass. I don't need this. Why? Why are we doing a remake?
American Psycho's great. Don't remake it.
And like they say that it's more like in tune with the actual book that American Psycho is from, and whatever. I don't give a fuck. I don't need this. And Luca Guadagnino, I respect this man's just ability to pump fucking films out.
Cruising.
He's just pushing these bitches out. I'm excited for most of his work. I haven't seen Bones and all. Like, there's a back catalog I need to catch up on, but I don't need another American Psycho because I love American Psycho with Christian Bale and as Patrick Bateman and Willem Dafoe. I think that movie is almost perfect. And I don't know if I need this.
I think Austin Butler will be good.
I think that's
to clarify. I think he's like, if this was just a different movie, like not American Psycho, but just like that character, I think he's just gonna kill it.
Yeah.
But
I think, if we're talking specifically on the casting choice, I think that's a great choice.
Yeah.
And especially for not necessarily an up and comer, but someone kind of really taking hold of like this generation of actors. I'm like, yeah, all right, you in anything I'm gonna buy, but I don't know if I buy an American Psycho remake. But you in it, fine, whatever. Something else that came out this week in terms of casting, which isn't like the biggest surprise, but Chris Evans is coming back to the MCU in Avengers Doomsday. Not Secret Wars, in Avengers Doomsday. That is just a little shade to Corey, as he thought it was Secret Wars, and this
he
is
could
one
be
of the,
in
this
that
is-
movie too.
He
I don't
might be,
know.
but this is one of the few times I'm right and you're wrong. So I just need to celebrate that.
Fuck you.
No one's. At least I'm not surprised Chris Evans is coming back. It makes sense, but also I never wanted him to come back because they did so well with tying up that character in the arc of Steve Rogers, and he finally gets his Peggy. Like, it's perfect. I didn't need him to come back. Corey, are you excited to see Chris Evans back in the MCU? I'll put a caveat. Are you excited to see him come back in the MCU if he's coming back as Steve Rogers?
Well, that's what we were talking about before. Is like, like it's more than likely going to be as like a variant of Cap or some bullshit, whatever they're going to explain it. But like, he could come back as like Deadpool and Wolverine, like come back as Human Torch. Like, you don't know. Like it could be that. I don't know. I love Chris Evans and he's great, but I'm getting a little worried just with like Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. I'm sure they'll tie it in. I'll fine and it'll work, but I'm getting nervous just with him and Robert Downey Jr. coming back, even in a different role. Like, it feels like we're trying to be like, we're kind of struggling. We need to bring back the guys that made this thing big. So like, fuck, bring them back. So
bring back our focal points of the MCU just to save our asses a little bit. Which, like, I have faith in the Russo brothers, who will be directing the next set of Avengers films. They've done great so far. They have proven that they can handle kind of this huge team dynamic and make sure everyone gets their moment in the sun. But I was so ready to be done with Chris Evans, especially now having Captain America 4 come out, where we have a new Captain America. Like, do we really need to revisit Chris Evans as Captain America? Yes, this report doesn't necessarily say he's coming back as Steve Rogers, just saying he is coming back in Avengers Doomsday. But if he's coming back as Steve Rogers, I don't need it, and you're going to have to win me over on it.
Yeah. So, to be seen. I'm sure we'll get a lot more casting news for those Avengers movies coming forward here. Shifting over to the world of Star Wars, we got The Mandalorian and Grogu. Bit of casting news, which I'm sure everybody is stoked about.
Fantastic casting.
Hey, you remember Star Wars, the Clone Wars animated movie from 2008 that got released in theaters? Well, hey, Road to the Hutt, Jabba's son, little squirrely fuck, he's getting voiced by Jeremy Allen White, the chef from The Bear, and wrestler in the Iron Claw. Hands! I need fucking hands! I'm a Hutt! I need hands!
I remember hearing... I didn't read into the story. I just heard Jeremy Allen White in Mandalorian and Grogu, which I wish they would change the title of this fucking movie, just because I don't want to say The Mandalorian and Grogu every time. But Jeremy Allen White, awesome. Love him in everything I've seen him in. Wait, who's he playing? He's playing a fucking Hutt.
Voicing a little... a little sack of whatever, like... Okay.
I don't need this. Like, it just feels wasted as fuck to put him in that role. Like,
Yeah.
Put him in anything else in Star Wars? Hell yes. Awesome actor. Can't wait. I just don't... I don't understand the decision to put him in as Rada the Hutt. That's insane.
It's crazy.
Anyway, moving on from that brief and stupid piece of news, we'll talk about the Clayface film, which is being developed within the world of the new DCU. Mike Flanagan is being brought on as writer, and I believe the Batman director Matt Reeves is also going to be involved as a producer with his production company and business partner Lynn Harris. But we're getting a Clayface film It looks like it's slated for September 11th, 2026.
Ooh, 9/11.
Yep, 9/11. Getting a Clayface movie. Okay. I love Mike Flanagan. If he's writing, I love it. I wish he was directing as well. I don't know if I need a specific Clayface film. I think that there's a lot of good potential there, with especially that teaming of Mike Flanagan and Matt Reeves as a producer, and there's a lot of cool things that could be done with this character. I don't know if I need it. So, a little TBD on it, but I do like Mike Flanagan, so I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt for now. But once they announce, like, all right, this is our director, this is our lead actor, or this is what we're doing, then I'll potentially be sold on it. But for now, I'm optimistic. Corey, how do you feel about a Clayface film?
You know, I remember playing as Clayface in the Lego Batman
fuck yeah, dude.
video game, which was
PS2,
like,
just
it was sweet. But yeah, I don't know. Clayface to me has always felt like a good supporting character in things. So
like a B-tier Batman villain.
Yeah, like obviously it could be interesting. I don't want to count it out before I, obviously see it or know anything about it. But the fact that Mike Flanagan's coming in, I guess he has an idea to make this movie interesting. So that's cool. Yeah, I'm very curious to see this next phase of DC and like if a lot of these projects are going to work. Only time will tell, and we'll obviously start covering that next year with Superman when that comes out and see if we like that movie. So, yeah, Clayface. That was my nickname in high school.
It's probably not good.
Yeah, I don't even know what it means, but
I'm optimistic because if it is within that James Gunn universe, then perfect. James Gunn, whatever you're gonna do in terms of DCU, you got my vote. Whatever.
Hell yeah. Now to a movie that is not a part of the DCU. Or part of any franchise, for that matter.
Crazy way to segue into this movie.
You like that?
For our movie rewind this week, you're going to segue like that.
This movie came out in limited release.
So we're cheating.
Shut the fuck up, man. Okay? That's enough.
That's enough out of you. I've had the right amount
I've had the right amount of you today. Came out in December of 1993, and then got kind of more wide release in February of 1994. Which is Schindler's List, directed by Steven Spielberg, obviously. You got Liam Neeson starring as Oscar Schindler, who, he's trying to save Jews throughout the movie. That's the concept of this movie.
That's the way you're going to sell this.
That's the way I'm going to sell this movie.
I'm looking at a synopsis that's way better than what you're saying, but all right.
Hey, quiet.
Quiet.
Ray Fiennes is in this movie, Ben Kingsley. I mean, this movie, I feel like one of those ones where people are always like, I watched this movie once and I don't need to see it again.
Yeah.
Which, that's an effective movie because it's like fucking
You're going to remember it no matter how many times you see it. You see it once, you still remember scenes from this movie. It is so influential. It's kind of like, I know in high school we watched it in like history class or a history class and it's like, yeah, this is a gut punch of a movie and it just depicts some of the worst atrocities ever displayed to man or put on man, and it has also it's such a well-made movie by one of the greatest directors working ever, and it has some of my favorite performances, especially by Ray Fiennes, but he's also playing a Nazi, so it's hard to say like, wow, you are so good in this movie, but you played one of the most despicable persons I've ever seen in a film. So there's like that scene where he has a Jewish member, like within the concentration camp, and he has his gun loaded behind him, and it's that shot looking at the Jew's face, and he's got his gun barrel up to the back of the man's head. Well, he's standing far away, and he's trying to pull the trigger, but it keeps clicking, and like the pin's not firing, and then it keeps jamming, and he gets frustrated, and then he just starts clubbing the guy to death, and it's one of the most haunting, it's one of the best things I've ever seen in film, but also to say that feels wild, because it's one of the most haunting and horrible things I've ever seen in a film, and Ray Fiennes gives one of my favorite performances I've ever seen, maybe my favorite performance of his, but also just ever seen, and Ben Kingsley is great in his supporting role. Liam Neeson, I think, gives likely his best performance ever too as Oscar Schindler in a role that's not him trying to climb a fence in 13 shots. Like, it's a film about him just being a good person, and you get that breakdown of him at the end of the film where he's like, I've been basically this capitalist. Like, I've taken things for granted, and I have all this money, like this car. I could have sold this car and I could have gotten like 30 more people. I could have saved more people, and it's just, you feel the weight of the era just weighing down on him and crumbling him into be like, you know, I've done this great deed, but I've also fucked up entirely. Like, I could have done more. And Ben Kingsley, like, the list is good. The list is life. Like, you are saving these people. It's such an emotional movie. It's a hard movie to watch, but it's so well made. And I can't speak enough about how well this movie's made, how good it is, and just how much of an impact it made on me when I saw it. I think I saw it for the first time when I was like 13, which I was pretty young, and then I've seen it, I think, maybe 3 more times since then, and every time it's just like, fuck. Like, it never doesn't have its impact. Corey, what do you feel about Schindler's List as it is directed by, I think, your favorite director of all time?
Yeah, Steven Spielberg is my favorite director, and I wish he would do more movies that had this sort of impact. I feel like I've been missing that a little bit from him recently. I love The Fabelmans, and some of his recent stuff I really enjoy, but just like you said, the emotional impact of this movie is insane, and it's certainly one that everybody should watch once in their life. It's one of those movies, and I think it's Liam Neeson's best performance. You're on this journey with him, and you're feeling it, and you're just seeing this point in time in history. Like, this movie and The Zone of Interest are the 2 movies where I feel the impact of, like, the Holocaust and of World War II, honestly, the most, where there's so many war movies out there, and, like, you know, you kind of get, you just see so much of it, and kind of, you're like, yeah, it's a war or whatever, but sometimes that impact, that emotion is lost, and this movie has all of that emotion in there. This won Best Picture for the year it came out, won like 6 other Oscars, so it's an iconic movie. It's one of the most important movies, I think, ever made.
Oh, easily, yes.
And they really could have used a little GI Robot in this movie. Take care of some peeps.
I mean, if you want to take that spin on it, GI Robot would have came in and
killing
Nazis. But this was... this is a heavyweight of a movie. Like, it's a classic. Everyone knows Schindler's List. Whether you've seen it or not, you know this movie. And it covers a really, like, complicated time in history, and it does it so well, and there's so much nuance behind it. I remember just, like, that initial invasion of Poland. You see the little girl in the red dress and how that ties into things later. If you've somehow made it this far in your life and you have not seen Schindler's List, it's, I think, a duty of yours to sit down and watch it. It is a long movie, but it is a very important film. It is maybe one of the best films ever made. It's directed to perfection by Steven Spielberg, Liam Neeson, Ralph Fiennes, Ben Kingsley give amazing performances. It is moving. It is a movie that you're going to sit as the credits start rolling, and you're not going to turn it off. You're not going to skip to next. You're not going to nothing. You're just going to sit there solemnly, and you're going to have to reevaluate things, and it's going to be a low point for you, but it's like I said, one of the best films I think ever made. It's a heavy hitter. It's a juggernaut in terms of classics that we have. Zone of Interest is another good one to mention too, though. That is maybe one of the best directed films I've ever seen, and it does tackle this
depressing as fuck.
Depressing as fuck watching that, but it does this time of history justice, at least as much as I could say that it does it justice. Schindler's List, it is our movie rewind of the week, but it is a recommendation from us here at Slate Night. As long as you haven't seen it, you should be watching it. It's a great film, and it is an American classic. I can't say enough good things about this film. And if you don't watch movies because they're black and white, grow the fuck up. This movie deserves your time. As well as a lot of other black and white films.
That's right.
The black and white here it's flawless. It's stunning. So, watch Schindler's List if you haven't. It's a great film. I'm happy that we were able to cover it today for our movie Rewind for its limited release, which kind of makes me feel like we're cheating, but whatever. Schindler's
Shut the
List,
fuck up, man.
It's limited release.
We just covered The Brutalist and The Room Next Door that are coming out in limited release this week.
I know.
Fuck you.
But, like, who's all going to see it during the limited release? It's a small number. Anyway.
Literally us.
Yeah.
We go.
Anyway. Thank you for sitting and having some drinks with us on this especially long episode of Slate Night, our 7th episode of the Film Fan Podcast. Be sure to follow us on Instagram for more in-depth movie reviews. I think I'm going to bully Corey into reviewing Kraven the Hunter and getting that posted.
You don't have to bully me, man. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, you're looking into ripping into that fucking piece of shit. And I will put a review up of Queer as well, hopefully these next couple of days. But in the world of film, it's not just about what happens on the screen, but also about who's sitting next to you in the theater, whether they're annoying the shit out of you or they're your best bud watching Kraven the Hunter while you have two 24-ounce beers down in your gullet. But from Corey and I here at the Slate Night Film Fan Podcast, I'd like to say that that's a wrap.